Welcome again, and thank you for joining our global webinar day here at InfoSim. Our topic today is the StableNet Web GUI. My name is Dietmar Kneidl, Director of Sales Europe with InfoSim, and I will be moderating today's event. Joining us from our headquarter office here in Würzburg is my colleague Marc Scheib, one of our senior developers. Marc has been with us for 3+ years now. He has a master's degree in computer science and is, as you might have guessed by now, part of our Web GUI team. So, good afternoon, Marc, and welcome to the webinar.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Dietmar.
All right. Well, before I hand over control to Marc, just a couple of household items. First off, you're muted when entering the audience room in order to keep down the background noise. So if you have a question, please type it in the question window at the GoToWebinar application, otherwise we can't see it. As usual, we'll be taking care of all your questions directly in the chat during the webinar or at the end in our Q&A session. So please don't hold back. Let us know if you have a question or remark at any time. And also, we're recording this event, so you're going to get a quick email tomorrow with a link to that recording. And that's all from my end so far. So I'm turning over control to our presenter, Marc Scheib. Marc, it's your show now.
Thank you, Dietmar, for that nice introduction. So our webinar today is about the StableNet Web GUI, as Dietmar already mentioned. Before I start with our demonstration, I want to give you a small historical view about how our Web GUI developed. Then we have some new section where you, our audience, choose the content we present to you live in polls. And after that, we finally give you a small outlook on another things to come in the web portal. So, as I mentioned, we will have a quick historical view in StableNet. Hopefully, I will not make you remember some bad memories on that time. As you can see here, we have digged out a screenshot from StableNet version 4.2, which was released in 2007, and that time this portal was more like a pretty much view-based statistic portal where you had not that much actions. So you can see here on top we have a limited menu with some basic functionality. And of course we wanted to change that during the development phase of StableNet. So in 5.1, which was released around 2009, the functionalities were increased and the complete web portal was extended. So you can see here the menu was already collapsed to our well-known drop-down, which some of you might still see when using StableNet 6.5 or 6.7, but still limited functionality. So aim was, of course, to extend all that stuff to new features. For example, we have some tables which were rich of features like column ordering, column hiding. We had trees with the context menus, and of course additional views which allowed you to have more dynamic web portal where you can decide what to present and change stuff in StableNet as well. This is also perhaps known to some of you as you are still using StableNet 6.5 or 6.7, so this is the current web view from that version as well. Some of you already know the version 7.0, which had a major update in the look and feel, and of course the whole functionality was changed as well. So we had more consistent components like the table components with filtering, still column ordering, we can export data from there. We have introduced a lot of dialogues which help to simplify your work, can increase backups, for example, and a lot of stuff like this. And of course the next step now is in 2017 to extend the portal more and more to have it be the same like the Java GUI. Of course, this is an historical view, so there's nothing to show here as StableNet 8.0 is not a historic web portal. So let's start with the presentation of the content of StableNet 8.0. it's up to you now to tell us what we should show you, and this is the point where I quickly hand things back to Dietmar.
You just like to hand things back to me, don't you? All right, so we're going to do it a little bit different than in the webinars we've done before this time. There's going to be 3 sections with 3 different pieces of content coming up, and you can choose either one of those 3 pieces of content, and we're just going to present the one piece of content that most people are interested in. But we have a handout that we're going to make available for you at the end of the session that contains, of course, all of the content and all of the slides. So if you want to inform yourself about the other pieces of content you didn't see, then just download the slides at the end of the webinar. And if you want another session more detailed about content that we didn't show today, just give us a quick email, and I'm sure we can figure out something. So Marc, can you show us the first pieces of content? So we're talking about new features, dashboard, tagging, and notifications. I'm going to roll up the poll right now, and while I do that, Marc, you can give us a little bit more detail about the pieces of content.
All right. So what we want to present you in here is at first the dashboards. If you decide to have a look at dashboards, we have 2 new widgets in here, which you can use with StableNet 8.0. Then, of course, the tagging feature, which is sure the hot topic in 2017. And we present you what is happening in the web portal with tagging. And as a last new feature, we have implemented notifications in the web portal, which should help you simplify work and have asynchronous tasks done in the background when you keep working in other views.
All right, perfect. There's still a couple of people that can vote, so we're going to keep the vote open for another 5-10 seconds. So if you haven't voted yet, please do so right now, because I'm going to close it in about 5 seconds. All right. Okay, everybody has casted a vote, and quite interesting. Let's see the results. We have a winner, so most people wanted to see something about the dashboards, not about tagging. We had the tagging content this morning. So if you're very interested in tagging, you can of course always watch the recording from our session from 9 o'clock this morning, which was done for the Asia Pacific audience. But well, it's dashboards this time. So Marc, your show, take it away.
Okay, that's kind of surprising, but as the audience decides, we will switch to the dashboards. So as I mentioned, what we did in here is extend the dashboards by 2 new widgets. Perhaps some of you do not know dashboards at all because they were introduced in version 7 of StableNet. What we have here is a completely modular view where you can decide yourself what to show on this page. It's kind of comparable to weather maps or report dashboards, but it's pretty easy to extend the dashboard with widgets. And what we did as new widgets is the ones that you can see here. Those are the so-called state filter widgets. They are also based on the new tagging concept, and what we do here is define filters on taggables which return me a state. So in this case, this is a tag filter on our measurement that measured the demo lab Germany, and it returns me the state of all that taggables behind the filter. Now you can define even more precise widgets in here. So this is focused on the complete global webinar demo server, and then we have some other servers in here. And it's not only possible to filter on a complete device, but you can even go for single measurements. So in this case, I took the StableNet self-monitoring measurement. In this case, I took the database. Another nice thing is that you can colorize the background, you can change the font color, You can even pick your own icon. So this is something which I created with our new icon sets manager. It's pretty easy. Simply upload a small icon and StableNet will completely colorize it for you. And you can use it, for example, in dashboards in here. What we also added is a drill down or drill up functionality, as you already know it from weather maps. So what I can do in here is link those dashboards to weather maps or to other dashboards by simply adding it to the context menu. So if I right click on this widget, I can jump to another dashboard. It'll open another window. And in here you can see I again have some state filter widgets on the side. And the second widget is our table widget. You can use that widget to paste URLs from our group analyzer, and the dashboard or the table widget takes the content of that URL and renders it as a table in here. And what I did is simply from that overview dashboard create a detailed dashboard for each system in here. So this dashboard is my detail system for the global webinar demo server. And again, I have statistics about the complete server. So you can see here I have an operational status, CPU load. Down here I have information about the StableNet application, as this server is our demonstration system, database information, and of course agent information. You can also add images in here. You can see this image is a little too big for my screen right now, but that's no problem because you can simply change sizes. So this is what we added with StableNet 8, and you can use that together with the old widgets as well. So if you already were using widgets, simply extend your dashboards by those two new widget types. So Dietmar, it's again your turn.
It's voting time again. Okay, excellent. So thanks for that. The first, I have a question from one of our audience members that I'd like to throw in here. The question is, can we use our own icons?
Sure. What you need to do is, as I mentioned, we have that icon sets manager, which is new in StableNet 8 as well. Some people may know that icon manager from previous versions, but we completely reworked it. And what you can do is, it's pretty much the same as I did. You take your icon, it is a single image, you upload it in our new editor, you can then colorize it or add some state boxes on that icon, and then use it in that state filter widget. It will be available as a drop-down box in there, and you can specify it as the icon for that single widget or even for all widgets.
Okay, well, thanks for that. Alrighty, so the next 3 pieces of content we have are dealing with improvements in the Web GUI. I'm going to start the poll again, and you can, Mark, give us a little bit more background on those 3 pieces of content.
Sure. So in this topic section, we were improving already available functionality in the web portal. For example, working with multiple elements is something a lot of customers requested a long time. So for example, you can now select multiple elements in the group analyzer, or you can create configuration diffs from the backup tree, or you can edit multiple alarms at once, like you know it from the Java GUI. Improved backup view usability kind of includes the working with multiple elements, but we also added new functionalities which you also know from the GUI, like showing directly single backups, diffing backups. We improved the searching of backups, and this is also the same for the weather maps view. All actions, or a lot of actions which are available in the Java GUI, were added to the weather map view. And we also have some new stuff which is related to the tagging as well in the weather map view.
Okay, very cool. I'm gonna keep it open for about 10 more seconds, so there's still a couple of people who haven't voted yet. Please do cast your vote now. All right, another 5 more seconds. I think almost everybody has voted now. Okay, so we're done with this voting process, and let's see what the results are. So most people are interested in the enhanced weather map view. I think that's the same that we did this morning, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
okay.
had that already.
Okay, well, then, your show.
That's the decision. So let me switch back to our portal and close that dashboard. Now, of course, our weather map view is located in the weather map section. So what you directly can see here is we also improved the look and feel of the views, which have a tree on the left side and the working panel on the right side. So you should see less scroll bars, less borders, and in any case, a better look and feel. On the left side here, you can see our weather map tree. You still should know that from previous versions. And if I click on a weather map, you can see still the maps you know from the Java GUI, but as you can see, they are styled in a different way. And what we did here is adding automatic layouting of weather maps based on different algorithms. So for example, in my case, I have an hierarchical layout in here, and now it's no problem to change the complete layout of the weather map within seconds. For example, let me switch to the radial layout. And what happened is StableNet automatically arranges the complete map in a different style. Now, you can see one problem. Of course, the map is, in this case, too big for my view, so what I can do now, which is also new, but probably known to you from the Java GUI, is you can adjust the factor of zoom of the weather map to show everything which is available on the map. So simply press that button, and you can see the complete layout. So it's now more obvious that it's a radial layout. Of course, if there were more elements, it would be around that inner device, of course. Now let me switch to another layout, perhaps. Let's take I think this classic tree layout we had tomorrow. Let's take balloon tree layout. Well, you see, the elements are now ordered automatically as a kind of balloon. I think it's by random that this looks like a rope. But you can see it's pretty easy to change layouts. What we also added is reset zoom and set zoom to 100%. Well, this is pretty obvious what it does. It simply changes to 100% or to the saved zoom of the weather map. Now, what we also added in here is a link types functionality, and behind that button, a link filter. So what this means is the following. I switch to this weather map. As you can see, the name already mentions we have multiple links in here. Those links are not created by me manually, but they were created by StableNet automatically. So this is a new feature we added with StableNet 8.0. And we now also offer the possibility to combine those links. So imagine you not only have 2 links, but let's say 10 links for, in case of the switch perps, for each device, or if it's a router. And of course, it's not really good to have that lot of links. Then you can simply combine those links to one single link. So you can see those 2 disappeared, and I only have 1 link. Of course, perhaps you need those links, but you want to filter on one specific, then you can use the link filter, and this is based on our taggables. So everything in StableNet is now a taggable, also our links are taggables, and what I can do is filter on those specific links. So in my case, let's say I want to only show the link between the switch and this web core device. What I can do now is add a simple filter. I won't explain that filtering panel because it takes a little bit more time to explain that. Perhaps it's something for an upcoming topic. But anyways, I want to quickly show you what is happening. I take that device I want to see links of and put in the name as a contains value filter in my panel in here. So it was named web core. I simply take web because it's a contains filter, so web is included in that name. And I apply that filter. You can now see here I have a contains value filter on the device name. And if I apply that filter, you can see the only link which is left is that single link between the switch and the web core device.
I have a question that just came from our attendees. So does that mean I can show only links for a specific Vlan, for instance?
Yes. you can filter on that stuff as well. So for example, if you have a look in that device tag category dropdown, there is something which is related to interfaces. And I think we have also some stuff in here. Let me see. Here, you can see we have that link Vlan tag category. And of course, you can now take a specify a value for your Vlan, and then only links which are tagged with that Vlan are visible in the map. So this is something which is related more to taggable. So it's used in here, but of course I did not give you any information right now. But for the moment you have to take it as it is. But it's possible to filter on Vlans as well, right?
Alrighty, perfect. Just maybe mention that on March, let me just turn around and check the date. Yeah, March 30th, there's going to be a global webinar day that will deal with StableNet 8. So if you are interested in tagging and interested in that new functionality, mark your calendars. If you're on our mailing list, you're sure going to get an invite for that as well. But March 30th, as you would have guessed, it's a Thursday again. There's going to be a global webinar just about StableNet 8 features. So just thought I'd throw that in.
All right. So of course, finally, you can clear that filters as well. So let me quickly remove that one again, or simply select all links again. And we have our old weather map back. So that's it from our weather map enhancements in the web. Now let's hand over to Dietmar again.
All right, well, our third content topic is customer-driven workflows. So we have done workflows, specific workflows in the GUI that well, pretty much this, the solution or the resolution of problems that customers came up with, said, okay, I want to do this and want to do that. Let me start the poll right now, and you can give us a little bit more detail, Mark, on those three pieces that we would be able to show.
All right, so for sure we have some customers in here as well which are familiar with those workflows. The maintenance view workflow is designed to simplify getting overview of devices which are in maintenance. Some of you might know the maintenance manager, which gives you an overview of maintenance itself, but you can't directly see which devices are affected, and it's hard to get a status of those devices. Prepared jobs is a possibility to create job templates which are reusable and customizable in the web GUI, and after execution they disappear again, or they are removed from the system. So you won't have a lot of different jobs for different use cases for your system, but you can create very generic jobs and specialize them afterwards. And finally, the linked reporting simplifies analyzing data from kind of overview reports via the web portal.
Okay, perfect. Well, then would you please cast your vote? I'm going to keep it open another 10-15 seconds tops. Most of our attendees have voted already. So we're going to 5 more seconds, and then we're going to close the vote. It's a pretty close call this time. So okay, everybody has voted. Thank you very much. Let's see. There we go. It's a very close call. Actually, it's a tie between prepared jobs and linked reporting. Mark, you decide what we do now. That's something we didn't plan for.
Well, if I remember right, we had the linked reporting this morning. Do I remember right, Dietmar? I think so.
I think so too. Yes. So well, let's do. Wasn't it a tie this morning as well? I can't remember, but why don't we do prepared jobs, because we have a recording of that linked reporting, and again, you can watch 3 different versions of that. If you're interested in the linked reporting recording, just drop me a quick question or a quick mail in the chat, and then I can send you the link right away. So we're going to do prepared jobs.
All right. So.
Alrighty.
let's go back to the web portal. Of course, our prepared shops are located in our device automation. Again, probably some customers already know that feature. Anyways, it's a pretty nice feature because it offers a lot of possibilities in the area of network configuration and change management. So as I mentioned, you as an administrator can create jobs for your working groups, which are very general, but they are easy reusable. So what you can do is you create a job in the Java GUI and make it available to your working groups in the web portal. Of course, you have to assign user rights and stuff like that, but the good thing is you don't give them too much rights, so they are only able to take that single job. And they also cannot change anything like templates or stuff like that. They simply have the possibility to adjust inputs you gave them. So what I do is simply select that job, open the context menu and deploy a new prepared template-based configuration job. In here I can adjust some things like whether to store the complete output. Of course I can enter login credentials and stuff like that. This is necessary because it always depends on the device selection, what device credentials to use. But in any way, this job which will be deployed then is only valid for that single execution. So of course I do my device selection as well. In here again, as you just saw it from the weather map linking, we have also the new taggable filter. It's the same usability, so if you understand it once, you understand it everywhere. Again, I will give you a small example. What I do this time is of course filtering on devices. So let's first do a very generic filter. Let's say I take a regular expression filter and I simply filter on every device name which is available. So give you a quick overview. So regular expression is simply dot star, giving me everything. If I do that preview, you can see this gives me simply all devices which are available in the system. Of course, because I have user rights to see all that. Now in my case I only want to execute a job on a single device, so I specify my filter to a more precise value. Let's say the name needs to contain London, which is a router in our lab. Let's press again the preview and you can see now it's only this single device which will be taken into account for the job. As a last step, I can configure the information or the input that administrator gave me. So in my case, I have a job in here where I'm able to execute a show command on that device. So as you already saw perhaps from the name, what I did here is a job which allows me to execute ad hoc show commands on devices I select. In my case, I will take the show NTP status because it's pretty fast. I've specified some other ones, but just to give you an impression, I will deploy that job. And you can see I get some information. I will deploy the job because it perhaps takes some seconds to execute. And now as I refresh my table, you can see there is another new job in here, which is named a temporary clone of my base template job. That job will execute now as well. And as it runs in the background, of course, I can continue working. So it's not a problem to go around here. And this is also something which I can give you a hint on from the notifications feature. You can see that notification button in here on top, which simply says me I have a prepared job deployed. And if I click on it, I can again get the information on that job. So as you saw in the background, my temporary clone is gone again. So this means as much as it's finished. And now I can go to my job analyzer from that base job, because the clone is related to that base job, and have a look into the result. So you can see my execution exceeded successfully, and we can have a look in the details. So you can see this is what was executed on the device. So you can use that, for example, for further work, copy that out, or you can also open details on that output in a table and have some filtering on that. So let's say filter on show NTP status command, so I only get those 2 lines. So that was the prepared jobs in the web portal. Now we have finished our 3 topics. It was pretty fast because our time is limited. Of course, if you have questions on additional features, for sure we can talk about that. Finally, we have an outlook of things to come in the future. One thing we want to show you or give you is the possibility to customize your web portal in less time, and it's not possible right now. You can already change the design of your portal. You can see it right here in that screenshot. This is something I created in some minutes, but the problem is it's necessary to have some understanding of CSS or web technologies. What we want to do in here is give you a small tool set which allows you to generally specify stuff like font colors, background colors, or sizes, and the toolset will automatically generate your CSS files and adjust the complete web portal. And another big thing we want to bring in the web portal is a rework of the weather map functionality. We will have a comparable weather map editor to the Java GUI. The best thing is I quickly give you a short introduction on how it may look. So you can see here, this is the web view of our editor, and you can more or less do the same things as you know from the Java GUI. So you can drag around those nodes, you can add nodes, you can link available nodes to others, and of course all that nodes are enriched with the status from your measurements from the StableNet server. So it's pretty much the same editor as you know from the Java GUI, but in web portal version. That's it so far from my side. Thank you for joining our webinar and thank you for listening. I have a small review slide which should help you ask some questions on those topics.
All right. Well, very cool, Mark. Thank you very much. There was quite a number of questions. I have a few ones that we may even combine. There was actually a lot of questions about will the StableNet Web GUI have the same functionality than the Java GUI? And furthermore, will that web GUI replace the Java GUI at some point in the future? Maybe you can give us a little bit more background on that one.
Yes, of course. So to answer both questions at once, yes and no. So it will have the same features as the Java GUI in the future. We will add new features from time to time to the web portal, but it will not replace the Java GUI because it's a simple decision. As people may know from other programs like an email client, let's take Microsoft Outlook, you have GUI-based version and you have a web portal, and some people prefer to use the GUI version, some others tend to use the web portal, and it's the same for StableNet. So we will extend the functionality of the web portal until it's the same as in the Java GUI, but we won't remove one of both GUIs.
Okay, thanks for that. And there is actually a couple of questions about the first piece of content we had, the new feature about the dashboards. I'll read them to you one by one. The first question is, will it be possible to use consistent color schemes like CSS across the dashboard?
If I get the question right, it is possible to specify, let me quickly jump to the dashboard, to specify those colors one by one for each widget. But it is also possible to put a CSS file behind that web portal, which colorized the complete dashboard in the same color schema.
Okay, I think that was the main reason for that question. So that it's possible to use a CSS style.
Yeah. So it's pretty much up to the guy using the dashboard or creating the dashboard. If you got experience in designing the dashboard, you need to get the let's get it more technical CSS classes or element classes, and then you can design them. But for users which are not familiar with CSS, we have that coloring in the widgets, and you simply need to define a background and a foreground color.
Okay, perfect. Now, another question is, will it be possible to add or to implement our own widgets to the dashboard?
Well, this was something we were discussing a lot internally, but we decided to not open up an API which allows to implement own widgets. We more tend to talk with our customers and develop and implement widgets together and bring them into StableNet.
Okay, and some more question about widgets. Are there any other widgets that are going to be released in StableNet 8 or versions to follow? Do we have like stuff on the horizon that we didn't talk about yet?
Well, we have some other widgets which will come for sure in StableNet 8. Let's call it X. But right now I don't want to tell you that much about it.
Okay. So there is stuff, but you're not going to tell us. Yeah. Alrighty. You're not going to work in sales. That's not going to help much, Mark. Okay. Perfect. There's more questions, and we will take care of those in either the chat or directly via email. So we're going to close the session. We've overstepped our time by 8 minutes already. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you for all those insights and all those details. We have more information available on the website. As usual, just browse through our resources section, help yourself. If you need anything specific, don't be shy, just ask us. And I have mentioned it earlier, we have recorded the webinar. We're going to make that recording of this webinar available to all of you tomorrow via email. If you're interested in the recording from this morning, then just drop us another quick email as well. I can send you that link already. We're going to keep the session open just for a few more minutes. So if you have an additional question or if you're still waiting for an answer, stay with us. And I guess that's all from us today. Final slide, Mark. Let's not forget our goodbye slide. Mark, you still here? Oh, okay, good. All right. Any final comments from your end?
Sure. Thanks everybody for listening to me and joining our webinar. I wish you a good afternoon.
Alrighty, 2 more pieces of info from my end. The next global webinar day is going to be on February 23rd. We don't have a topic for that yet, or more precisely we have one, but we're not going to tell you already. The webinar about StableNet 8.0, if you want to mark your calendars, is on March 30th. If you have InfoSim calendars at your wall, which you should have, you don't have to mark it because it's already in there. All right, well, that was all from us. Thanks for joining and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.